Hi everyone, in this video I'll be talking about how to create a successful online community during the COVID pandemic. As we all know, governments around the world have put their countries under lockdown in order to protect the citizens against the COVID virus. As a result, many of us are not able to go out of their house. We probably will have been experiencing months of actually isolation as we stay indoors and we are not able to see our friends. Now, some people have realized that, why not create online communities where people get to talk to each other and therefore maybe meet new people through technology where everybody can stay safe and at the same time still meet new people as well. Now, in this video, I'll be sharing with you my experience as an attendee for these online communities and the best practices I've observed and seen. Now, just to give you a brief background, this online community I came across was via the app called Meetup. So Meetup actually was founded, I think, a couple years back, and they actually have a website called meetup.com and also have an app called Meetup app that you can download on your phone. Now, the whole concept behind Meetup itself is that it's just a platform for you to make listing of events that you want to organize and for people that want to join events to see your listing according to date, time, and also location, and then they can join you at this event that you organize. Now, Meetup app has I think a subscription fee, like a monthly or quarterly subscription fee for you as an organizer in order for you to post your listing on the app itself. Now, I'll be sharing with you the experience of what is like pre-pandemic when I've observed certain good practices in physical meetups. Now, the whole concept behind Meetup actually is about connecting people that have similar interests to each other, where they can do the similar interests, for example, say reading books, discussing about books, discussing poetry, hiking, outdoor activities. So I'll divide this video into two parts. What life was like before the pandemic and how meetups were organized, and the second part of the video will be how Meetup is being used to organize online communities. Now, my first part of my video is before the pandemic, there were face-to-face meetups. And I'll take the example of a conversation-based meetup itself. Now, what happened was the organizer would organize the event on Meetup, list the time, date, and venue. And this venue was like a cafe or restaurant. We would cap the attendance to 15 or 20 people. And this is because we wanted to keep the meetup kind of smaller in that sense, so everybody would have a chance to talk to everybody. And the setup and the seating arrangement for this setup was actually a long table itself. So basically, when you join the meetup, you can come and sit with us, and then you could talk to the person on your right, or you could talk to the person on your left, or you could talk to the person sitting in front of you. And while this setup was quite good, I realized that maybe for some people who are very quiet and very shy and take some time to actually start a conversation, this may actually be slightly of a challenge to them as well. And also, I realized that because of the seating arrangement itself, if you wanted to talk to somebody else, you would actually have to physically change seats or move seating arrangements with somebody else so you could talk to different people itself. Now, the organizer of this conversation meetup had then experimented with another location and another seating arrangement style. Now, this new location enabled us to organize seating chairs in 5 to 6 people in a group, and we were able to open up the RSVP of this meetup to I think 30 to 40 people and actually double the attendance capacity for people that wanted to join this conversation meetup. So because we arranged the chairs in five chairs a group itself, and at every interval of a 25-minute interval, everybody will be allowed to change seats, and therefore this is how we actually solved the first problem that we have, which is people wanted to talk to more people, but because of seating arrangements, they were not able to do so. Now, another step that this organizer had done was she had pre-prepared topics of conversation on slips of paper and put these topics of conversation slips of paper into different groups itself. Now, the reason behind doing that is because in case each group itself is maybe facing difficulty in starting the conversation, or maybe people are shy and not sure what to talk about, these conversation topics on slips of paper would just be like a tip for them to just talk about the topic randomly. For example, topics such as, what's your favorite movie, or what's your favorite food, or what do you like to do, or what is your interest and hobbies. So whenever people in the particular 5 to 6 people a group actually started to run out of ideas of what to talk about, all they had to do is just take those slips of paper and then start talking about it. Now, I noticed when it comes to conversation-based meetups, what is a good guideline when it comes to organizing those conversation meetups is to have a guideline, a framework of what is or is not allowed in these conversation meetups. What is not allowed is basically a few things. No discussion about politics, race, religion, and no sexual harassment is tolerated. Now, having said that, once the organizer talks about the guidelines in every meetup itself, at least the audience knows what are the boundaries that is allowed in this meetup, and to respect each other, no matter if we have any differences, as long as we stick to the boundaries and guidelines of this meetup itself. Now, you may be asking, how do we incorporate those good practices over to building online communities? And more importantly, how do you actually build an online community using meetup.com? Now, the organizer will actually put a listing in meetup.com indicating that this is a online meetup, whereby the meetup is actually conducted over Zoom. So what happened was I noticed that in this particular online Zoom group I joined, they would actually list down 2 days a week. So Wednesday and Sunday, 2 days a week, where they would have this online meetup and new people could join the group as well. And not only that, they also used Facebook events, or they have their own Facebook page where they actually promote them actually organizing these meetups as well. Now, as an organizer, once you have indicated you're having an online event as well through Meetup, and actually post the Zoom link, or you could choose to send the participants the Zoom link before the meeting starts. In a way, you're able then to use technology in order to facilitate a meetup for many people around as well. And as I realized that this online Zoom meetup did not just attract Malaysians to join us, it also attract people from different countries to join us as well. So I think that's the cool part about technology and Meetup, where you can have interactions and make new friends with people around the world that can join your Meetup group through technology, through Zoom. So as part of the Zoom, I noticed there were several best practices in the Zoom Meetup as well. So what I will actually walk you through right now is how the Zoom meetups were conducted. So on Wednesdays and Sundays, at a specific time every week, this meetup link was shared, and then people would actually go to the Zoom meetup. Now, in the Zoom meetup, what typically would happen is that there will be two co-hosts. Now, one of the co-hosts was person that would be conducting the Icebreaker. Now, typically the meetups on Zoom itself will attract a pretty large crowd, say 30 to 40 people. And out of the 30-40 people as well, there'll be regulars and also there'll be new joiners. So what the host would do is the host will organize an Icebreaker event, for example, say 10 minutes. And after that, he will get the new joiners and the regulars to introduce themselves, for example, have different activities. And then after that, the second co-host will be the person that will be assigning the people in the group in two specific breakout rooms. And each breakout room would have 5 to 6 people assigned to the breakout room itself. Now, the breakout rooms would then run for about 20 minutes, and everybody, like 5 people, assigned to one breakout room for 20 minutes. And after the 20 minutes was up, everybody would join the main room in Zoom. And in the main room in the main Zoom room itself, the host would then have a small icebreaker for another 10 minutes, and then the co-host would then assign different people into different breakout rooms again, and this was the practice. Now, the standard meetings that we had was about 2 hours. So in the 2 hours time frame itself, you would get to be able to talk to different people, and also because each individual breakout rooms were about 5 people, it didn't feel too overwhelming. So everybody had the chance to talk. Now, you may be curious as to what are the best practices of this Zoom meetup. Now, what I observed is this. Because these meetups were actually organized on Wednesdays and Sundays, Wednesdays were the time where they would have a regular host and someone to actually help him to assign people into different breakout rooms. Number 2, the host itself that organizes on a Sunday, sometimes the founder will actually get different people to actually volunteer as a co-host. In that way, we get to experiment with different icebreakers and to see what actually works and what actually doesn't work. And more importantly, we get different people to feel like a sense of ownership about this Zoom group, in the sense that they get to try new things, they get to propose new ideas of how to do different icebreakers. And I think this is important because whenever you form an online community, you want this online community to feel like they belong and that they can contribute. And more importantly, this is so that the founder is able to also then to experiment on different ideas and also get different people to be involved to create more excitement and fun in the group itself. Now, another portion I realized when it comes to organizing an online meetup is for the host to actually listen to newcomers talk about their interests and hobbies and actually ask them about it. Now, the reason why you want to ask newcomers about their interests and hobbies is because as a host, sometimes when it comes to assigning people to breakout rooms, how you provide a good experience for people on a Zoom meetup breakout room is that you assign them with people who have very similar interests to them so that they can start conversations with these people as well and then maybe form friendships with them via Zoom meetup as well. So I believe when it comes to hosting meetups as well, somebody has to have a passion for building communities and also for realizing that a lot of people that come to Zoom probably have interests and hobbies, and if we match them with the right people itself, they have a pleasant experience on the Zoom meetup, and therefore they would then be more excited to continuously join our future Zoom meetups as well. So this is how I believe that when it comes to attracting people into your Zoom meetup group, you have to start with the intention that you want to give value to them. And the way you give value to them is to pair them with people that have the similar interests, or even pair them with people that have the same temperament or personality so that they can get along and have great conversations on the Zoom itself. Now, once this Zoom meetup is conducted over a period of time, there's another important thing I realized when it comes to Zoom meetups. There must be guidelines to tell people in Zoom what is not tolerated. Now, these guidelines usually are very simple guidelines. There's no talks about politics, there's no talks about race and religion, there's no sexual harassment tolerated. This is very important because when it comes to organizing physical meetups or online meetups, you will attract all sorts of people that come into the group. And when you establish a very strong culture of what the group is about, which is making new friends, having great conversations, and also when you communicate to them what is not tolerated, at least people know where do you stand. And when you do that, you actually are forming a very safe community for people to come and be part of a community where they get to express who they are as a person, have great conversations, and also share ideas and share the things that they like to do. So having those boundaries set very clearly and expressed in every meeting itself enables newcomers to understand what is our Zoom group culture about. Now, I believe that there was a WhatsApp group existing where people that have joined us 5 to 6 times were then deemed as regulars. Now, when you deem a person as regulars, is because when people have joined your Zoom group for like 5 to 6 times consistently, what happens is that these people are pretty much serious about making new friends and consistently joining your meetup group. And at the same time, they understand what is your culture about. They understand what are the values that they have gained from this meetup group, and they will also want to help other newcomers have a sense of belonging and welcome these newcomers to join us as well. And this WhatsApp group again is about having this pool of regulars where they get to talk to each other via WhatsApp group and at the same time post information about the Zoom meetup. For example, every Wednesdays and Sundays, because we had this Zoom meetup, then again, this will be a reminder for the regulars to come join us for the Zoom meetups on Wednesdays and Sundays. And I think what is incredible about this practice is because when you have people that are already regulars in a Zoom meetup, right? How you get this Zoom meetup to expand and attract more newcomers is that you have regulars that understand your culture. And also, when you think about how people when you think about how a co-host will assign a breakout room, they will make sure that a minimum of 1 or 2 regulars are in each breakout room itself. So, because the regulars are quite knowledgeable of how things flow, or they know how to they know what is the concept behind the breakout room itself. In case each breakout room is a bit quiet, or there are too many newbies that don't know how we actually conduct our Zoom sessions, The regular will be then able to explain to them and as well as just guide the conversation and then allow the group to then speak. Now, the reason why you have regulars being active in the Zoom Meetup group is because they find that there is so much value they've experienced. They have been able to build great friendships. They've been able to even meet people in their same industry itself and exchange ideas about where their industry is going. And also you can find people who love similar topics like food, and they like to share information like where to get the best food, where is the best restaurant, and similar things like that. Which is why I think when you have a Zoom Meetup group itself, building the Zoom Meetup group through the objective of making new friends and establishing clear boundaries of what is or is not tolerated. And also that's how you actually build a steady pool of regulars that will keep joining your Zoom Meetup group. Another thing I noticed that is great about this particular Zoom Meetup group is the practice of being open. And what I mean by being open is that we realize that many people will have different time commitments. So during the span of 2 hours of this particular meetup group itself, the founder will say to the people that, anytime you guys are busy or you guys have to clock out and you guys have to leave the Zoom, let us know. It's not a problem. We welcome everybody to join us, as we understand that different people have different time commitments. And because of this openness in accepting people to join us at different times according to what times makes sense for them, in the sense that we also don't make it too rigid. So we allow people, to join us or to leave that Zoom Meetup group as and when their schedule permits them. Now, just to recap, I basically shared with you two scenarios. The best practices from physical face-to-face meetups when there wasn't a COVID pandemic, and as well as online Zoom Meetup groups itself. Now, if you're someone that wants to organize an online community, why not just join meetup.com? And this is actually, there's no advertising behind this video. I speak as somebody who really loves that app because this app has allowed me to find friends, has allowed me to join cool activities when there wasn't a COVID pandemic, and also allowed me to also join this online Zoom group as well during this situation where the country is under lockdown. And as someone who experienced a tremendous amount of benefit on the Meetup app, I wanted to produce this video to share with you the best practices I've seen from different organizers when it comes to organizing meetup groups around conversation. Now, personally speaking, I feel that countries around the world may be in longer lockdowns, and as a result, it can be quite volatile to say as to when physical meetups are allowed, or even some people would be more comfortable meeting new people via Zoom meetups as well. So this is the reason why I decided to create this video, in order to share the best practices from two great meetup organizers. And I would like to take the opportunity to actually thank both of these meetup organizers as well, Shasha and also Joe Wong and also Ramsey, because three of these individuals have been spending their time, their effort, and their energy to organizing successful meetup groups so that people get to make new friends, have great conversations, and also build lasting friendships.